Back. It's time for game 3 of our day's coverage of the LJL Week 4 action. Of course, we have changed our roles. We're shaking things up, and the movers in Shaker in the LJL world will be looking to shake their own standings up as well. We have the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks Gaming, SHG. They're all the same to me, apparently. Versus AXIZ. AXIZ sat at, unfortunately, winless 0-6 record from the first 3 weeks, whereas the Hawks, after their first 3 weeks and their first game today, are 2-5. Gentlemen, at what point does desperation set in for these teams?
I think it's already in there for AXIZ. I think they are in a difficult space. Don't get me wrong. We know what's going on with the role swap and the substitute situation. That hurts. It does. But they need to find someone who can actually carry right now. And I don't know if they've got someone who can consistently carry. They tried with Gary Aru in mid, and they could just do with somebody else to step up with him. And I think the 0-6 record is tough, but unfortunately probably fair right now.
And Lexi, yeah, desperation is on the cards. Or is it? Who knows?
Not for the Hawks. I actually think the Hawks are in a very comfortable place. If they play more, if they find maybe 1 or 2 extra wins under their belt, we saw 4 wins was a tiebreaker contention. I think the Hawks definitely could make tiebreaker, if not even playoffs. If with a half decent run, we've seen them take wins from Burning Core, who are currently above them in the standings. So definitely can punch up above their current weights. And there's always saying, if you're against CGA, while no one's really been able to beat them outside of V3, can definitely do it. I'd love to see Corporal maybe play more engaged and try and be that extra support carry, but totally agree with Initialize's statement. Yeah, panic is in for AXIZ.
I mean, we've definitely seen a bit of engage coming out from Corporal from the likes of the Pantheon support, if you remember that as well. Yeah. Something a little bit different, of course, didn't work out for them, but of course, nothing's worked out for them this split so far. It's interesting that you mentioned, of course, the playoffs bracket and stuff coming into these later weeks, because, of course, we're halfway through the split now, or at least coming up to that point. We are finishing off the first round robin games today and having our first reprisal of certain matchups. One thing we've talked about a little bit on previous podcasts and previous casts as well is that losing stupid games now might cost you playoffs. You look at the character of both these teams, and I'm going to go to you, Lexi, on this. Do you think these are the kind of teams which will lose stupid games?
Yes. These are teams where if you've watched any form of competitive like challenger to amateur leagues where these are very good players, but they shouldn't make mistakes where they lose by a 7k gold lead. These are 2 teams where I feel like we've seen it from DFM, so I am not surprised if even these teams make kind of amateur to mistake and uncharacteristic mistakes. I could see both of these teams winning through the opposite team making a mistake, and I could also see one of these teams just bulldozering the other, and it would look convincing, and I would still not have a way of gauging it, really.
And, well, that is what we are left with. So now the remaining question is to you two, really, is who's going to win and how close will this get?
I think it goes in favor of Hawks, probably. I think Hawks should win it pretty well, assuming they draft Dasher something with a little bit more agency than Galio right now.
More agency than Galio. And Lexi, what's your take on this?
I am going to side with the Hawks, but that's purely because until AXIZ get that first W under their belt, I'm going to be very hesitant to side with them. Once they get that first one, my God, I'll be all on them for anything, because they're such a team that was about confidence in spring, and it seemed to be once they got that first one, the confidence of the whole team came. Now, definitely playing with the substitutes is hurting, so till they get that win, I'm going to side with the Hawks.
Of course, they haven't got a win since the regular season of last split. They did bomb out of playoffs in that 0-3, of course, to now rampant V3, and V3 have warped the standings so much, being undefeated so far. I think it's time for us to move over towards that pick and ban, guys. Can AXIZ do the miracle run? Can the Hawks maintain their patience and their composure after that loss to the Jesters? We'll find out. Enjoy the game, guys.
Well, thank you so much, Nymera. It was a pleasure listening to you host as always, but that means it's time for myself, Initialize, and of course, Alexander Swan, otherwise known as Lexi, otherwise known as Alex, to join me here on the caster desk for Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks Gaming's second game versus New to the Rift today, AXIZ on the red side, but that means that the Hawks over on the blue have Aramik, Tussle, Dasher, and of course that 100-acre bot lane of Honey and Poo.
And for AXIZ, we've got Natsume, Hoglet, Gadiadu, Unyan, and Corporal for AXIZ. And initialized, Nymera didn't say the line, so do you want to say it this time? He didn't.
Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, grab your engines, get your DeLoreans running, because this one's a blast from the past.
There we go.
There we go. I've been given great power, and I don't know what to do with it. I've had fun with it, is what I've done, I suppose.
Well, you know, with the power, pick and bans have come in, and bans phase 1 is already underway, sir.
There hasn't been 3 straight AD carry bans from AXIZ. Ezreal, Aphelios, and Varus all off the table. Other side, though, the Hawks have gone a little bit more varied. Karma off the table. We know how strong that is. Trundle away from Hoglet. And, of course, the set that is still pretty high priority across the world. Hawks now debating their first pick. They will lock in the Callista for Honey.
We know Ashe is going to be picked up. So you have to pick
Surely.
because you can't let it go to the second round of bans. Or so the Hawks just go, ban Ashe. What have you got now? Like, what have we actually got? And we haven't seen Unyan play much of anything. So,
misfortune, maybe.
I guess, yeah, maybe. Saw Honey bring that out, I believe, in week 1 or 2.
Yeah, Unyan's brought it out a couple times in his first week as well. Looked all right on that champion.
Sure.
But it will be the Volibear locked in alongside the Ashe, which is a pretty decent engage already in. Stormbringer and Enchanted Crystalline Arrow certainly have their options. We know that Honey had a pretty good game on the Callista early on versus, the Jesters in the first game of the day. Wasn't enough to turn into a victory, but it's looking like a bit of a run back of their first draft because they've got the Callista, they've got Tussle and Lee Sin again. See what they go to third.
I assume this will be a support. Yeah, the Thresh coming at Harvard makes sense. Now, don't...
It's a run back.
The LeBlanc makes sense, but I want a Freljord mid laner, so can we get, like, Lissandra? Can we get the Freljord comp?
Sejuani as well, just like Sejuani on, and we're all there. If Gary Aru locks in the Zed, he will be my friend forever, I'm just saying.
I mean, it's kind of not the best mid laner at the moment, but it could be worse, as we see Nautilus locked in. That's fine.
It is going to be locked in. It's another big, hard engage, right?
Exactly.
And that can be pretty powerful. AXIZ giving themselves easy options to start fights when they want, how they want, definitely makes some sense. Not like the Hawks don't have their own options with the Fates Call, the Thresh, and the Lee Sin as well. We are now through into the second round of bans. It's the Aurelia first up for AXIZ, looking to perhaps index towards Dash's champion pool. We know he likes that Aurelia. See where the Hawks want to go after this, then.
So I guess they could ban another mid laner from Dasher. Dasher, though, has a huge champion pool, so you could ban the Lucian, which we saw a lot being banned. I think Lucian would be a fine ban if they're going for a peel pick comp, but the Wukong makes sense.
Yeah, Aramik has shown some pretty good things on the Wukong when he's been left to his own devices.
That is important.
When he's been not left to his own devices, things have gone a little bit wrong for the Hawks. This time out, though, of course, it is Natsume on the AXIZ side who's kind of that substitute stepping in and perhaps less of a threat to Aramik. We'll have to wait and see. Tristana banned away from Gary Aru. We know he does like to index towards that in the mid lane. Looks pretty damn good on it. So the Hawks just take it off the table.
So they can still pick up the LeBlanc here for Gadiadu if they want to do that. Zoe's still open as well, which might be a really nice one if you're going for this kind of peel pick comp. I would prefer Zoe in a lot of spots. Wow, am I actually leaking the script again?
He's done it. He's done it. Look, Lexi, we've talked about this before, man. You've got to stop doing this.
I'm sorry.
It ruins the game. The elements in the surprise, right? And I know this is the blast from the past, but we've got to stay professional. We can't do this. And I know you haven't watched the game. I know. But even so, viewers at home don't. There's integrity to be had here, man. Can't be doing with these predictive choices like this. Good Lord. I'm sorry, guys. You know, this is what I have to deal with, man. The professionalism's just not there.
Oh, okay. So, God. Okay. So, Aramik's going to be playing the Ornn, and Dash is going to be on his fabled LeBlanc. This looks like a very solid comp from the side of the Hawks. Nothing amazing and special, but it does a lot of things. It's going to be interesting to watch Tussle on the Lee Sin, though.
Yes, and I kind of think that Lee Sin and of course the LeBlanc was something the V3 tried to run against DFM last week. Didn't get, or rather, yesterday, I apologize. Didn't get all that much in the early game, but the idea is there, right? That you can team up with these two high mobility, high agency characters, try and go to the side lanes, try and find something in mid lane, and snowball that lead to other places. Will be, of course, the Aatrox locked in last for AXIZ, though, and that means it will be Volibear to the jungle.
So I'm guessing Natsume just wants to play the worst version of Wukong, which is now currently Aatrox, as Wukong is just a superior version in every way. I'm lying, obviously, here. They're champions which play similar to each other. It's
team fight focus, I grant you.
Yeah, it's just Wukong kind of does what Aatrox does, but slightly better. I'm looking forward to seeing Volibear in the jungle. They could have obviously moved that top lane, which is a fine matchup for against Ornn, and then you can just have your pick of the junglers. I believe Graves was still up, so definitely an option. Olaf would have been open. Echo was up. They could have had a lot of other options, but they wanted to go for the volley and have the Aatrox in the top lane. Maybe Natsume feels more comfortable on that Aatrox, and also the matchup for it as well has to be more comfortable for them.
It's a known quantity, right? Like, it can go either way, but that it's something you know, and especially for a guy who is newer to playing the competitive stage right now, or kind of coming in as a substitute, does make sense. I do want to kind of go on to that Volibear you called up as well, though, because obviously Hoglet's been a guy that's been struggling. We've seen him try to go towards carry junglers and really suffer at the kind of with trying to find things in and around the game. Volibear is something that is coming up in general priority in the world, just all over, and it perhaps indexes more into his playstyle. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, though.
I don't disagree with you. Hoglet's definitely been having some question marks and problems from us over on the desk. We've been struggling to figure out what's been the main problem. Is it just Hoglet falling off? Is it maybe their pathing or their champion pool? If the Volibear picks up the W and it looks strong, then I think we've just found that maybe Hoglet has to play these kind of tank, engage junglers as opposed to maybe carry junglers, which is currently far more meta at the moment. Maybe it's just that's the axis that they actually have to play on. Haha, you see what I did there?
I did. That was nice.
Thank you. I'm very proud of myself. I feel very smart.
Yeah, you are a very smart man.
Thank you.
You're so smart. You're so smart. You spoil the damn script.
That was not the intention.
Just your big brain, man, is ruining the game for everyone. But here we are. the five-head, giant, wrinkly brain of my analyst, too strong in the draft phase. We're on to the Rift, more importantly, right now. And Volibear kind of over originally in his red buff, but now moving down towards his blue. Kind of curious to see where the Lee Sin starts, currently up by his blue buff, maybe looking to turn up and shield his bot lane, which will surely be attempting to push in early.
Yeah, interesting that the blue side start, and he could be doing, planning to invade Hoglet. I would assume Lee Sin would have a slightly stronger level 2, but it's honestly, I've not seen much of the blue buff versus blue buff matchup in the jungle. Oh, apparently they're just actually going to do some normal jungling. It's so weird to see. It's
been a while because we've seen so many ridiculous jungle starts, like particularly when V3's in the league at the minute, who have been looking to push junglers into unusual, non-standard path, vertical jungling, responding to what Boogie and the likes are trying to do, and of course with the caliber, I guess, of junglers in the league, that's something that we do see more often in the LJL than perhaps some other leagues might expect.
Hey, lads.
Yeah, we are here with a pause. Alas, poor LJL game. We knew thee well. Instead, we've got a pause. We're going to stare at some of the Hawks members in their very yellow tops and then switch over to AXIZ. We're not in yellow tops despite.
I do like the AXIZ's like blue, the navy, and the yellow. I think it complements each other very well.
It does, and it's kind of it's an interesting inversion of their colors, right? They've got the sort of yellow with the blue accent on their symbol. They've inverted it. It's nice, it's stylish. I like it.
So hello everybody, welcome back to the desk as we wait for this game to begin. We're gonna just find out how long this pause does take over on our end. In case of any technical reasons. Let me just have a quick look-see-dooksy.
I'll get talking while you do.
Oh, please do so.
We've been talking importantly about jerseys here. Jerseys of players. That's really the key here, I think, in finding out who's truly going to win this matchup. Because You dress to impress, you dress for the job you want, you dress for the victories you want, ladies and gents. And that means dressing up appropriately behind the computer screen as well as on the Rift. Skins are important in game. Uniforms are important out of it. And we're seeing some stylish team jerseys coming out about. We don't really know what the pause is right now, in fairness to say. Of course, we are doing this. A, blast from the past. B, we don't have any access to Japanese production. And C, none of us really speak all that much Japanese either. So it's not a really good combination for telling you what's going on. We can guess. And we can talk about team jerseys, which I'm very happy to continue to do. We've got these two kind of yellow focused
Hey, we're back in.
We're back in, so I can stop talking about the yellow-focused squads. There will be fighting on the Rift, and it's straight back into some action with some trading in the bot side. But we are back into game, which is good news for all League of Legends fans out there. I hope my conversation about jerseys, though, was more than important enough as Hoglet tries to find the gank onto Dash and forces an early flash because of the use of his distortion. The drive by Volibear gank will then turn up into his top lane, and that'll be the end of it. Fighting the bot side, though, is flash burn from Unyan early on.
Jeez, that's really not ideal. I'm guessing maybe Pooh landed a hook and Unyan before just preemptively flashed it or something. That would make the most amount of sense.
I think it was a flash hook from Pooh that Unyan flashed in return.
Just to respect. That makes sense. That makes sense. Tussle trying to find some pathing, looking to get the scuttle. As we see the runes and masteries, I'm just having a quick goosey gander and, well, nothing's too exciting. Press the attack Volibear, I guess, is the most interesting one, but even then, that feels pretty standard to me.
Yeah, it's not a bad call. It's definitely a little bit more of a damage idea. I mean, you can, I suppose, run tank runes on Volibear. Wouldn't be awful on him, but a bit more towards the press. The attack here makes sense to me as well, I think.
Yeah, Conqueror is what I've seen on Volibear traditionally, but or Grasp of Undying, just because Grasp just does so much. And Twitter is divided for once on this.
Well, AXIZ fanboy group coming out. Yeah, you're right, it is divided. It's a slight victory, or at least slight edge to AXIZ.
And that 4% that swings for the...
Who do you trust? Do you trust the cold, hard numbers of fact? Are you the Kyber of analysis, or are you going to go with the heart of Twitter? The heart of the Yugi Motos. So Hook lands in the bot side, maybe looking to go with the fans' Twitter vote right now. Honey takes a lot of damage in responses. Here comes Hoglet looking to try and find and engage.
He's got no vision on him.
There is no flash on Pooh. Remember, he burned it earlier. Honey going to try and find his way out. That's a flash out from the Callista. But now that's a dredge side in, and first blood goes the way of AXIZ. Hoglet, nice to see you back. It's a return to form early on in this game.
Very solid there. I mean, the Hawks were pushed up. No vision on it. That was just allowed. Hoglet was just able to come slowly down, menacingly approach them, and get the solid gank. GG, well played. Would have been nice at Yang to get that kill, but, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's first blood gold, 400 over to Hoglet, and that's going to definitely put him in a nice spot versus Tussle.
Oh, well, there you can see that difference there. Tussle got a camp advantage, but the first blood and the pressure in the bot side and the summoners burned in a lane that the Hawks desperately wanted to carry. Sounds good to me.
Oh, sounds great. I mean, look at that. Hoglet's already got jungle item. First back, jungle item, and is running around like no tomorrow, and it's only the 5-minute mark. Gotta be happy with this, especially when your Tussle isn't even there.
I suppose finished Saber item. I get what you mean.
Yes.
Finished jungle item. It's like, well, he got Cinderhulk on first blood.
Oh,
like,
right,
what
my
the hell?
apologies, yes.
I was momentarily like aghast, like what on earth has Hoglet been doing, and who do I need to call about cheating? Because that's just inappropriate. Dash is dashed forward though, and that could be a risk. Remember, there is no distort from the ultimate, but is swift enough to return. Perhaps a little overhyped was I seeing the potential with the distortion used.
Yeah, I mean, Tussle's now just going to take this dragon pretty uncontested, and there's no vision here from the side of the from AXIZ. Their only red buff is not where they actually have it, but they've already pinged it out. They're well aware of what's going on. I don't even think they care, even if the side of the Hawk, if the AXIZ know about it.
Yeah, it's an interesting first buy from the Lee Sin as well, I want to point out. That's a Coldfield's Warhammer rather than a Skirmisher Saber. Looking to get that CDR and damage out early has allowed him to take the dragon pretty swiftly here. And I suppose when you got that farm first clear, I suppose, where you did get to clear a little bit more than look for a gank, I can sort of see the logic behind that first buy.
Yeah, there's definitely a method to the madness there. I assume the Saber will be coming in as the next main thing, along with Boots as well. Hoglet, well, actually, let's have a quick check-in. Aramik and Dasher have just got their first items coming in. That, this Bramblevest seems to be a very, very common item for the first pick on Orns, and it almost just seems a stable now.
Well, there's so many top laners right now that their pressure in lane is predicated on how much they can heal. That's how Aatrox works, how Wukong works to it. These guys auto-attack you a lot. It's like, well, if you auto me, you're going to hurt yourself. Like, sounds pretty good to me. Ornn already has decent base damages, so kind of stopping the trade back potential just seems to make a lot of sense. And it's such an efficient item as well. It's like 100 gold, I think, for Bramblevest. That's pretty good going for what you get out of it.
Yeah, 1k gold. I remember buying it on Poppy when we were playing.
Yes. Poppy plus Evelyn is apparently a great combo. Well, specifically Poppy plus Yasuo is actually what we were quite impressed by. Yeah,
yes, I didn't even realize.
Neither are in this game though.
Did not realize the interaction between them as Dasher gets handed over the blue buff. Not something that a Tussle really needs, as he's an energy champion, not a mana champion. So
indeed.
Let's have a look in. Let's see what's been happening on that, and nothing's really changed in the buying things. We're seeing Corporal take that back, and relatively speaking, AXIZ are slightly ahead in this match, which is definitely good for them.
It is a breath of fresh air for AXIZ fans out there. It helped for us on the cast as well. Like,
oh yeah.
No one wants to see his team just spend their whole time struggling. You want to see bright spots out of them. And of course, this game's nowhere near over. The Rift Herald has started by Hoglet on spawn, pretty much, which is also good news for them.
That's very topical of you, Initialize. Think about Sandbox over in the LCK.
Indeed. Yeah, they've been, Yamato's turned up, and there's been some nice changes in the way they've been playing right now. And, AXIZ right now, looking at least more competitive in the early game.
Yeah, Shaco also picked up a win over Fnatic yesterday, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, Schalke, indeed. They did a great job there. No one defeats Schalke 9 times in a row. Perhaps AXIZ are looking to reduce that down to just the 6 times and find their first win on their 7th.
Probably would be slightly better, right, in my eyes.
You gotta hope. Hulks and the rest of the bot lane there looking to push in on the bot tier 1 as AXIZ look to try and go for the first turret here with the Rift Herald take. They've got it down to that 2.5 plate mark already. Should be able to secure first turret off this, you hope.
Yeah.
There we go. Gonna try and get it here with the second wave coming in as well.
Yeah, there's no way that the side of the Hawks are actually going to take this any faster with 2 members in the bot lane actually trying to take it. But I think they've got about 3 turret plates down in that bot lane now. But first turret and full 5 turret plates goes over. And oh my god, I actually blinded that wrong. It was 4 turret plates have already gone down. Well, no, that's 3. No, I was right. It is 3.
It is still 3. You were right. You were right. You didn't need to judge yourself. Tussle looking to try and find a gank onto Natsume, who's stuck around on that side. But Natsume is swift enough to get out from between his 2 towers. Lord of the Ring references abound. But
yeah.
For now, it is this good early gold lead over to AXIZ for just over 1,000. And yeah, strong early start from this squad that we've had a lot of questions about.
A lot of questions about. A lot of that gold is going to be currently sitting on the Ashe at the moment because of the amount of turret plates they did end up getting, and she ran over to help get all 5 of those. So Hoglet is also going to be a part of that wealth that they have, especially with that first blood, 400 gold over to him or his pleasure. For that, we've got our first items coming in now. Completed Sturks for... Well, that's not Sturks. Gauge? God, what is that for Hoglet? The green one.
It's the Cinder Hulk.
The Cinder Hulk.
It's the warrior enchant for the Lee Sin as well on the opposite side.
Yeah, thank you. As those items have fully come in now. Junglers are fully prepared, but Hoglet's slightly further ahead because of that first blood, so that's why we've got a Ruby Crystal there for him, as well as the Sabers coming out for Ashe and Kalista.
Yeah, there you go. The Bilge Water Cutlasses are there. On guard, say the bot laners, and on guard they have to be because it's an Ocean Drake that's spawning in just about 5 seconds, and I suspect both squads will be looking to try and contest for that, trying to get some pressure and priority in this bot lane here, and we're going to see what AXIZ can do with the priority they've earned themselves. Tussle has got a ward over into the back of the Ocean Drake pit, has cleaned out a pink ward behind his red buff, and AXIZ start up this Ocean Drake. Natsume roaming down. Do the Hawks want to contest? You can see Dasher in the river. You can see Fu coming around. Dragon's down to about half HP. Can we get messy?
Aramic TP'd in.
Oh, man, that's Lee Sin steals it. Lee Sin's just stolen it. That's a massive deal. Here comes the fight afterwards, though. And that will be a big kill from Uinyan onto the Lee Sin in revenge. But wait, Dash over the wall, looking to get onto Hoglet. Can't quite find the damage, though. Wait, he's still going. Gets it finally, but now needs to try and get out. He does fall down to Natsume. It is 2 kills to 1. But the Dragon is stolen by the Hawks. They do get the second Drake of the game, and good play from them.
It was a bit confusing there. I saw Aramik teleport in and then almost immediately flash over the wall to just try and get out of the fight. I feel like if Aramik stayed with Dasher there, they might have actually kept him alive and maybe even gotten more for their troubles there. A little bit surprising, but as you put it right, Tussle was able to steal this here. So we can see here, Tussle, Aramik's coming in for the TP. Huge damage goes on to Hoglet, but he does get stunned for his time due to that volley back Q. Aramik comes in, Call of the Forge God, knocks Eunyan up, and then the team's a bit unsure what to do. Aramik only, and the rest of them seem to all be running back, but Dash is left to his own devices, and sadly, does get taken out. Bit of miscommunication. Dasher went in when the rest of the team went out. Didn't have to die there for the Sins, but did also want to get a kill to try and make it a 1-for-1, so don't blame them fully. Hawks still have objective advantage, well, Dragon advantage, not objectives, as AXIZ have got that top turret.
Yeah, and this is perhaps something of the question we have had about AXIZ, that they've actually had okay, like half early games over the 2 games they've been playing. They got 50% first blood rate somehow, 37% first tower rate, so not awful as it could be as Dasher and Gary Arrow trade a little in the mid lane. The issue is that they do tend to throw a little around that mid game, and it's kind of showing here in the Drakes. 2 early Drakes over to the Hawks, which Hawks just don't normally get at 15 minutes.
Yeah, so the Hawks don't normally get 2 Drakes by the 15-minute mark, so this is actually uncharacteristic of them, which is actually good to see, right? We're seeing improvements, because getting Drakes are good. So it's not like it's a bad thing to get Drakes. It's like, okay, the Hawks are definitely doing something. Yes, Tussle had to do a steal there, but it worked out perfectly. That's all that matters.
Yeah, they did. They had to get the steal. They get the steal. That's good news. It's still about this 1,000 gold lead for AXIZ, but watch out, Natsume, you're in trouble. It is a 3-man gank using a blast plant over the wall to try and get onto this particular top lane. There was a fight in the mid lane as well. Hoglet trying to get onto Dash, who's been slowed down with the chilling smite. The battle in the bot lane continues, and Natsume trying to dash, dip, duck, dive, and dodge his way out of dodge, but it won't be enough as finally Hawks get that kill, I say, as Honey does get the pierce at the end of it. Dasher gets out, does escape the volley bear, but Natsume not quite so fortunate in the bot lane.
That went on a little bit longer than one would have expected.
Yakety Sack was playing loud and proud out in that one. That's for sure.
It really is. But they were able to get the pick on Natsume, pull up the farm, and what's important about getting that pick on Natsume is that this is going to be additional time that Aramik and the rest of the Hawks team are going to be able to in-lane. They pushed it up and then immediately rotate around and reset. So Natsume is going to be missing out on experience as, oh my god, Medjai's...
I was about to call that out. It's so great. Yes, Maswan.
Go on.
Tell me how confident you have to be as Gary Aru to pick up a Medjai's at 2 stacks at 15 minutes into the game.
Ambitious. Ambition is the word I'm using, but if they get any form of momentum going, that's how you can carry a game like this. Especially as a Zoe in the early game. You'll start dealing what feels like true damage. It's gonna be hard, but... I mean, out of their team, who would you trust out to do that? Gary Aru's probably the number 1 player, right?
I think I'm with you there. Corporal now potentially in a little bit of bother, but of course has a Dreadtide and a Riptide and finds his way out of dodge.
So, do you want to know a fun fact that Nymera has given over to us?
Sure, please do.
Alright, so we were talking about how the Hawks rarely get 2 dragons by the 15-minute mark. They normally get 1.
Indeed.
They have about a 1.13 out of 15 minutes. Oh my god, there's a fighting again. Guys, what are you fighting over?
So the reason is, well, it's 20 seconds until the Infernal Drake. That's what they're fighting over. That's the big one. Tussle going back in with Dash's assistance. Corporal burning, but has, in fact, got a stopwatch. He's going to go down, but the Ram Jam claims the diver, and that will be a dead Nautilus. They have the man advantage as the Infernal Drake is spawning, and never mind, 2 Drakes. It's looking like a third here for Hawks Gaming, just gone 16 minutes.
That was really cool by Aramic. You don't see it often when you're doing the calling of the Forge God to actually get it. Oh, Pooh!
Bit of a fight in the mid lane. That's going to be the Stormbringer out. Pooh has gone golden as well. Can they find the kill? But no, Aramic gets the volley back. It's being traded back, but it's already a 2-for-1 here. This is a 5 versus 4 AXIZ that you have taken. Trying to find something in this mid lane. Natsume now in the 1v3 falls down to Honey. And that makes it overall another 3 kills on top of the one they got on Corporal earlier. And Tussle wasn't even there. He was taking the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, no, he had priorities. He was like, well, Infernal Drake means we win the game, right? So I'm going to focus on getting the objectives as a jungler. Rest of my team can do whatever. Right, so Hogler gets seen out, but they've got red butt, they've got pink ward, so it's kind of whatever. Lots of poisoning. There's no reason to be fighting. They've still got 20 seconds till the dragon's coming up, unless you find a pick. Again, shouldn't be fighting. Okay, Dasher found a pick on Corporal here. Really useful. Call the Forge God's going to be called in perfectly here. Kills Corporal. Really well played, really. You don't get to see that all the time. Normally because people aren't that low, so feels bad, Corporal. Feels bad, sir. But now AXIZ just, they're like, well, what can we do here? We have to call... Pooh gets thrown in the middle. Doesn't knock up, importantly, there. But goes golden, tries to pay for the sins. But now the Hawks just get to slowly pick people apart. And now it's Natsume and Gadiadu versus the rest of the Hawks crew. And Tussle's just taking the dragon this whole time. Like, he, as you said, he just doesn't care. And the only upside is Gadiadu got an assist. So now he's got some extra stacks.
Congrats, I suppose. That's pretty good news. He's up to 4 stacks on that Magi Soul Stealer, trying to find a few more autographs for that Book of Death. That said, you could see what AXIZ are trying there. Like, okay, well, they're taking Phone Drake. We'll summon Rift Herald in mid and try to take the mid tier 1. Honey with the Fate's Call denies it. And they're going to try and finish up what the Rift Herald started here, but it does come dearly. Finally securing that mid tier 1 are AXIZ.
Good. That's all I really have to say. So, now, like, what are we expecting to see here now? Like, Aramic's just going to AFK farm, be safe. 3 members of the Hawks came down to try and deal with him, and he's just like, I'm just going to chill under my turret, mate. I'm not even going to, actually, I'm not going to chill under my turret, my tier 1 turret, tier 2, because Pooh's close to me in that sense. So I'm going to run off. Now just gets to chill back, waits to reset, and what? Dasher just took top turret? Yeah, just for free. For no contestation.
That's the trade. That's the trade, right? Because you could see Natsume was trying to shove in on that turret, call the Forge God denies it, and now Gary has to be a little bit careful because with Tussle and Dasher hanging around looking to catch a Zoe unawares, there was a bit of room for risk there, but Tussle decides to back out.
Do we think we're going to see a very quick, aggressive Baron? I'm going to say no.
I think you wait for Infernal Soul and then think about it, because I think if they win the fight at Infernal Soul, they can take that and then run to Baron afterwards. Aramic now being threatened again. There is no Call of the Forge God yet for this guy, but he's still pretty tanky at this point in the game. He's got himself a Sunfire Cake, got himself a Ninja Tabi, and of course the Bramble Vest. That's pretty good. Here comes the Enchanted Crystalline Arrow, but that is a very swift cleanse, but the engage is around. The depth charge is out, but out goes the jungler and the bot lane carry for the Hawks.
I thought Tussle got hit by that arrow, which makes Honey's cleanse no sense unless I misunderstood. Jesus!
Well, Guerrero takes most of his health bar there, as Dasher has definitely got a fair amount of damage with double pen and a Ludens to his name.
Yeah, that double pen item was something I was going to bring up, but it doesn't seem important now because 4 Magi stacks, that's AP. But what's better than AP? Just flat cutting through your opponent's stats and being very good at outputting sheer damage. Tons of damage, as Freak would have said.
Well, tons of damage might be what AXIZ are going to have to deal with, as there is a siege now onto their mid-tier 1. Pooh's hook does go wide, and they will hold on to this tier 1 for now. Dragon up in about a minute and a half, and we've got some items to keep our eyes on, namely there is Blade of the Ruin Kings in for both of these bot laners. Now a Hurricane in for Uinyan, which is pretty huge. I imagine that Honey will get the same on back. You can see he's got a lot of gold, more than enough for that Hurricane.
A lot of gold, yeah, 18k
gold
just chilling.
Leads, kind of, yeah. Big gold leads for both the mid and AD carry, actually, of Hawks here, just off the kills they picked up in these fights. So that's good news for them coming into this Infernal Soul fight. And you know AXIZ are going to have to fight it. It's about a 2k advantage to Hawks. add an Infernal Soul on top of that, and just the weight of stats you get from that soul would make that gold lead so much higher.
Yeah, okay, so we're seeing a lot of this money being spent. 30 seconds on it. Yep, that Hurricane and Aegis. That means we're going to see a Death Dance onto Honey. Okie dokie. Teleports are up for both of the top laners, but I expect they're going to stay in this bot side and just slowly push it out. One of them will have priority, and it looks like Aramic's taking that priority. A lot of positioning and poising. 10 seconds left on this dragon.
What am I keeping my eyes on? Who's got summoners? Who's got ults? What am I looking for, Max?
Everything and everything is up. Literally everything except for Honey's. Honey doesn't have cleanse, and
keep your eyes everywhere!
Tussle doesn't have a flash, but everything else is up except for Gariaru's flash. Alright, so you got one flash down on both sides and a cleanse down, and that's it. Everybody else is looking for it.
That's a sleep onto Tussle, though, but he does manage to safeguard away before that comes down. Dasher takes an ignite to the face. He's down to about half HP, but Gariaru comes out mostly clean. That's an Ash Arrow out. They're going to try and stop it. Pooh gets Fate's Call, though, and invalidates the Crystal Arrow. That is a big fight out of Honey, who is getting all the spears into the backline. He's got 2 already. Call of the Forge God now coming out. Corporal falls as well. That is 3 kills in favor of the Hawks. They get the Infernal Soul. They'll be able to move on to Baron afterwards as well.
So, now it's okay, Gariaru, to sell that Magi. You tried. It's okay. Sadly, it didn't go the way that you were hoping. Tussle landed a 3-man Dragon Fury. We already had this discussion.
Dragon's Rage, yes.
Wait, isn't it Fury or is it Rage?
Dragon's Rage.
Oh,
Dragon's Rage.
God,
We'll get you there.
Oh, you already
Let's see the replay. Come on,
all right, so Dasher comes in, gets chunked a bunch by Gariaru and the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. It's fine. The Ignite comes in, but this is what the exciting part is. So Pooh actually tanks this. Knock Up comes out, and then watch what Tussle does here. Bing, bada boom. Hoglet just ulted away. Oh, God. Corporal unable to escape, and this whole time, by the way, Aramik and Natsume have just been like bashing their heads against each other in the bot lane because that's what bot laners do. Didn't actually go and do the dragon like you expected, and I also expected, but I guess secure the dragon, rotate, and reset, I guess?
Yeah, I suppose death times were still a little short to be able to go over and take that Baron, but with Infernal Soul now to their name...
Well, and 3.5k.
Yeah, and 3.5k indeed. Here comes Dasher. Oh my days. That is what Infernal Soul will do on top of this LeBlanc at level 14 to Unyan's level 12. Ow! Ash is lucky to get out of that one. If the chain had landed, I think she was done.
Dirty, dirty stuff, but that's why you play LeBlanc, isn't it? That's the total reason why you play LeBlanc in so many of these different compositions. LeBlanc is one of the only true assassins at the moment in the game, but due to the counterplay that she does offer to teams, that's why it's there. Jeez, Louise.
Well, you heard about that Dragon Rage, kid. You called it out, and that is near enough 3,000 damage for the Lee Sin in that last fight. And that's with the LeBlanc and the Kalista doing pretty meaningful damage as well.
I do like how Natsume was able to deal 1k of damage to Aramik, and Aramik was able to do 800 damage to Natsume, because that's all. that's all the damage that really came out for them. Honey, watch out! You did it.
Ooh, just sidesteps it now. Hoglet here, but of course Pooh is around to save Honey with the use of the lantern. Hoglet has to ult away to avoid the hook, and they're just not finding anything right now. AXIZ as Dasher finds Corporal, lands the chain, still gets a stun, and that's most of the HP bar of the Nautilus, but forced to reset and little else. Natsume shoving down on a side lane, but that will give license for Hawks to start up this Baron, try and force the teleport out of Natsume.
They can't contest this. They can't contest this Baron. I don't care what you say. They can contest it. Like, they can, like, air quotes, they can. But should they is another different story. And Gariaru's just taken out the fight before he can even do anything. Honey just doesn't care. And, yeah.
Listen, he's been taken out in the fight commencing. They take a lot of damage. As Hordasher gets another. The LeBlanc doing his very best to try and get more as Dasher. finding in the back of this fight. Corporal goes down, and it's already 4 dead. It's 5 men of Hawks chasing down this Aatrox who teleported in, and there is nothing more to be done. Tussle gets the ace. It's 14 kills to 4. It's an Infernal Soul, and now a Baron to the Hawks. This game is all but done, MassSwamp.
And Initialize, I want to apologize for taking the initial play-by-play responsibility there. I started just talking as if I was just watching.
I was expecting a throw. I was like, no, he's going to keep going. I was like, all right, I guess I wait here and have my arms up. Like, wait for the pass. Where's the pass?
I was like, oh, that's just it. But I'm like, that's kind of the way that this game has been going every time. It's what I said. Actually, you take over. Do this analysis, if you may, sir.
Well, you can see the Baron was started, but they were waiting for Gary Arrow to come around. Honey goes over the wall. There comes the Fate's Call. And now with 2 members already, or 1 member already dead, it's just Dasher getting to clean people up in the backline. Natsuma's just late to the fight. He doesn't get to be here. And yeah, Corporal's got a stone plate, but the damage is gone already. And with the Infernal Soul damage on a Callista and a LeBlanc, who is now at 5 kills, by the way. It is 6 kills on this Callista. There's just no hope for AXIZ in that fight once one of their damage dealers was already dead. It's a death cap in for LeBlanc now. Who will be getting that upgraded to a death crown shortly, surely.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, upgraded items are coming through now. Okay, so we've got an 8k gold advantage for the Hawks. They've got Infernal Drake, which is commonly classed as maybe the most powerful one. Dear Tussle.
He's found his way into an Ash Arrow. They're going to try and find the bait, but they miss time. The Paddle Star, the stopwatch is good enough to save Tussle life. And here comes the re-engage. It's a 3-man knock up into 3-man flay. And it will be 3 men falling as Natsume goes down as well. Hell, they'll pick up a 4th as a bonus at the end of it. And look as Gary Arrow desperately runs away. It's already 4 dead. There is minions pushing into the base, and Gary Arrow's got to do his damn best to hold up against the onslaught of the Hawks as they're going to try and potentially push to at least get an inhibitor. Hell, they might look to end here, MassSwamp.
I think they can end. If they don't want to end, that's just because the Hawks just want to really pad out their overall KDA across the whole league. I won't discredit them for it, but they should. I believe in the rules book. If you are able to end the game, you are meant to.
Well, here we go. Gonna try and end the game. They're coming forwards. Gary Arrow taken very low. There have been the respawns, but it's only 2 alive now as Gary Arrow falls. Hoglet goes golden, but he's just a statue for a little while longer. He falls down. That's the last of the Nexus turrets, and the Nexus about to fall. They're onto the fountain or AXIZ, desperately trying to find something. The triple kill comes at the end here for a 9-1-9 performance from Dasher. They finally get the shutdown onto Tussle, but I don't think it really means all that much. 22 kills to 5 as they look to pad the stats even further. 10-1-10 now for Dasher, and so the SoftBank Hawks finish off AXIZ in pretty dominant fashion.
And that's going to feel great for the Hawks, in all fairness. Having a really dominant game like that, especially after a game against the Rascal Jesters earlier in the day didn't quite go the way they would have wanted, that's going to definitely make them go back to the locker room and feel a little bit better about themselves. Though, commiserations over to AXIZ, it's just never quite worked out. We need to compose ourselves a little bit more for some more in-depth analysis along with Nightmare. So we're going to go on a short break and we'll be back in just a moment.
We are here gathered today to mourn the passing of AXIZ first round robin. They sit at 0-7 after all of their first round games, and it was not pretty. I'm going to ask this pretty harsh question right from the start, guys. Are AXIZ destined for 0-14?
Go forth.
Okay, so the tough answer is they have to, well, their only way they're going to beat, they're not going, now, in all fairness, they're not going to beat any of the top 4, right? So that's literally 4 out of the 7 teams that they could try and beat, they're not going to beat. The way that the Hawks just dealt with them, the way that Rascal Jesters dealt with the Hawks, and the way that Burning Core have been playing, I think they might be.
Okay.
Well, so my thoughts are no, if only because I don't trust the bottom teams in the LJL to be consistent enough on a consistent enough basis, not to do something dumb. We saw Burning Core, have great games and then draft a weird comp where Yuhi's the carry and then Yuhi doesn't carry. Like, that is something we can expect, and there is still hope that AXIZ managed to resolve their visa issues, get their coach back, get everything else back, and that might offer them some stuff. I think it might be a little late for them to look towards playoffs now. That, I think, is becoming a bit of a miracle end of the season for them, but I think they could probably pick up a win.
Yeah, because in spring, AXIZ came back from a 0-4 start. If they lose their next game to V3, and let's be honest, that is a likelihood given how these teams are looking right now, they would have to come back from double the deficit they had in spring. Of course, this game is not just about AXIZ, though. We do have the victorious Hawks on the other side of the rift picking up yet another win for themselves, so they are feeling a little bit happier considering that they dropped the earlier game to Rascal Jester. I want to start, actually, because we did just compare AXIZ from spring to summer. One player on the Hawks I want to compare from spring to summer is Honey. What do you make of Honey's Callista? What do you make of his increased role within this team in terms of what he's doing in team fights and the early game?
So, I think what we can probably talk about here is there's been 2 good games of Callista today. It didn't work against the Jesters in the end. There was just too much weight of good team fight experience from the Jesters that kind of took it away from them. But it was a good early game, good 2v2 play after the bad teleport die early on for the first blood. Last week as well, versus Burning Core, when it was the Aphelios versus the Ashe. Yes, he didn't perform all that well, but Honey did. He stepped up on that Aphelios, and yes, was it made a little easier for him? Sure. But that's now 3 games out of probably the last 4 where we've gone, that's pretty good work from this guy. So yeah, I think he is stepping up and he is finding carries in this current meta to look good in lane and in team fights.
Yeah, Lexi, this is a guy which you've championed, you championed back in week 1 of spring. You were really high on this guy. It's been a long time coming. He's probably not reached that peak which we all hoped of him, but he's still making his way, making some waves around here as well. What did you make of Honey in these 2 games?
This is just what I was expecting from week 1 of spring, really. Like, this kind of was the level of play that I was seeing when I was watching his VODs, trying to find him on solo queue. This was the kind of thing that I had witnessed. It was just kind of translating that into professional play. We have seen countless times on countless different teams from countless different players in countless different roles. It doesn't translate. It's good that he started to have this transition happen. And yeah, it took a split and a half to get there. But frankly, if it's starting now, come 2021, looking further ahead for the Hawks and for Honey's career.
Or hopefully playoffs.
Oh, yeah, definitely for playoffs. Maybe but even further into 2021, there's definitely going to be a good shining horizon. And the Hawks might be shining with Honey as their carry.
And heading back to AXIZ and kind of talking about some of the positives which we can draw from this. Hoglet looked pretty okay on the Volibear. Managed to survive a number of fights, have some impact in the early game with this pathing as well. Sam, I'm going to go back to you for this because you are a resident jungler. Jungling is on the forethought of your mind when it comes to League of Legends. What do you make of Hoglet and his Volibear?
I think his early minutes were really effective. He managed to get in behind the pushing Callista and Thresh, burned all of the summoners, got first blood, especially after there had been an aggressive flash burn by Pooh to force the flash out of Uinyan. So they were feeling pretty confident with the Hawks bot lane. That Volibear early gank with the Thundering Smash was really effective. He then roams right back up and then forces a flash out of Dasher as well, who had distorted really aggressively in mid lane. Kind of cost him a flash in that lane as well. Wasn't so strong afterwards. I mean, he was still trying to make plays, but at least those early minutes were really efficient, really effective.
But speaking of, just kind of like going business as usual for some parts of AXIZ, or at least that's what they would have hoped it to be this split. Going back over to the Hawks to kind of end this out, Dasher had one heck of a game. Tussle also had some good moments as well. They stacked up early Dragons, they turned that into a teamfight advantage into the late game and forced the issue when they were threatening that Soul. What did you make of Hawks and their game plan and how they just seemingly just kind of rolled to an easy win here?
In all fairness, I feel like the Hawks were kind of given this win. In a way, they just played around the map far better. Their team fights were just far superior. And a lot of the times they were going into fights as a 5v4. Or 4v4, where it was kind of actually it was a 4v3. In all fairness, Aramik and the other top laner that I've forgotten the name of in this... Natsume, thank you. He's new to the Rift, so it's a little bit harder for me to remember. I'm not great.
We've cast a lot of games today, a lot of names to remember.
They basically just butted heads like top laners did. So a lot of the time it was those 4v4 fights with the occasional Call of the Forge God trying to come in or something. So... yeah. I think the Hawks just kind of got a lot of fights where it was very advantageous to them, and we saw them do about 6k to 7k worth of damage in one 4v4, which is just absurd, and you should not be allowed to output that damage, and it was across 3 different members.
Yeah, I mean, when you get into the late game, when you've got Ornn items coming in, it can get a bit crazy, particularly when you've got that Infernal Soul ticking along as well. I think it's time we kind of wrap this up now. So obviously moving on to this next game, AXIZ go on to face V3. I think we'll probably deal with that in the pre-game of the next game. Yes. So we are going to cut to a break now. It will be our last game of week 4. Last game before quite a large break for us too. So absolutely don't go anywhere. Finish this off with us. Come see us in a bit.